to knock up your broad? You talked me into it. Line him up. You first, honey. Take your hands off me.
Welcome back to the Harbor. I'm your host, the Kino Cowboy. I'm with Casher and Scott in his nice.
You know what? No.
apartment.
I want to be the host this time.
Well, okay, go for it.
I just didn't. I just want to be looked at as the host. I don't want to do anything different.
Oh.
Say that I'm the host and that
Welcome back, guys, to the Harbor. This is the Kino Cowboy, not your host. The host is actually Casher. He's down below. We got Scott with his brand new apartments. We don't support Star Trek in this household, but today we were talking about a very, very, very underseen. Stop, Scott. I will stop this fucking cast.
Are you serious?
We don't support that shit in this fucking.
We're not
house.
as autistic as we were in high school.
Go watch
Yeah,
Picard.
dude, Casher in high school got in arguments with the teacher over it. I remember.
Yeah. Go watch your Picard. It's just as bad as any other Star Wars shit that's coming out these
Is
days.
it?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Anyway, but we're not talking about mid sci-fi. We're talking about pretty good sci-fi. Fun.
I would argue very good sci-fi.
Yeah.
I fucking love this.
It's called A Boy and His Dog, Underseen, 1975. Several years before Mad Max, influenced a lot of post-apocalyptic fiction, especially with Fallout and any other similar series.
I'm talking about Fallout here.
Yeah. Because it's just a fascinating scenario and location is like post-apocalyptic, deserty, having to hunt and scavenge. It's just a fun setting.
And then like underground fucking vaults and like civilizations.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But the guy who directed it, he was mainly an actor. He was in an ass ton of westerns from the 50s to the 70s.
Justice McQueen.
And this like he directed one smaller feature before this, but this was like his main, like written and directed by picture, and then that was it.
Wild.
Okay. Sometimes that happens, dude. People are like, I want to make this movie, and I guess that's it.
I did look up that the director before we started this cast. He has one role in this movie and as actor in porno film.
Oh yeah, because they had to make up.
That's the one I would want to cast myself as too.
That's what on rewatch I was noticing when they were watching those movies. I was like, these are not real movies.
No.
And then the guy who plays Vic,
It's Don Johnson.
Yeah, I was like, where have I seen him recently? And I was like, oh, Knives Out. Yeah, okay.
He's also plays the racist in Watchmen.
And also Miami Vice.
Miami Vice is a big one, yeah.
Yeah.
Don Johnson's the fucking man.
He's Mr. Miami Vice in that show.
Yeah.
He's got a name. He's got two names. He's got one name that sounds like a big dick. I feel like that's what you name yourself. Name your dick. Johnson.
It's like...
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Cool Casher.
I'm just saying, man.
No. It's a pretty baller name, I can't lie.
Let me introduce you to my friend Don Johnson.
I mean, yeah.
So this film follows a boy and his dog, if you will. They have a telepathic connection, and it's not really explained if it's like due to some sort of mutation from radiation or something, or what it is. It's just,
or if he's just fucking insane.
Yeah, it's just sci-fi. No, that dog gets him out of trouble too much.
Yeah, no, the dog is too helpful.
It's like Jiminy Cricket.
No, the dog is able to like analyze and see how many people are outside the base and shit. There's
also
no way.
Sniff out pussy.
Yeah. And that's the thing is that pussy is nothing but trouble. That's the message of the movie.
That's the message of the movie. If you're down bad, you're gonna be down bad.
Yeah. So
Jesus Christ.
movie is basically for the
We
first
should have
act,
shown this in our abstinence only sex ed class
Yeah.
instead of giving us those weird robot babies.
which by the way, at Bob Courtway, they brought in an actual 40-year-old virgin, and he was a loser. And
Nice.
That
I know where my career is going.
was pathetic. Like I remember 8th graders. As soon as we left that class, we fucking clowned for like the rest of the day on that guy.
I mean, here's the thing. What's to stop me from going like, yeah, I'm a 30-year-old virgin, and like, you can't look at my hymen.
No,
Like, what
the
do you-
problem is that this guy was peak loser, and it just reeked of like truth.
It's all a bit.
No,
No,
you're
that would be
saying everyone
impressive.
wants to fuck
He
me.
walks
so
in like
not believable.
dripping like Neil Hamburger and shit. Like,
Oh my god.
I wish Neil Hamburger came to my school.
yeah,
So this movie is based on a novella by Harlan Ellison. And Harlan Ellison is an author I'm familiar with, mainly from his short story, I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, which is one of my favorite short stories. It's one of my favorite science fiction stories ever. He is a
give a brief
multiple
synopsis?
award-winning author, also a major curmudgeon. To that. I don't think he like any. There's the argument that James Cameron stole the idea for Skynet from the story I just mentioned. The idea of a giant supercomputer gone rogue, who's to say though that anybody owns that idea? That just kind of arises out of the consciousness. We had evil robots before that.
You know, Harlan is such a curmudgeon name too. There's only like one Harlan I could think of that's not a curmudgeon, but most Harlans fucking suck.
Yeah, I guess.
Name a decent Harlan.
I don't know any Harlans.
There you go.
Other than this
is it
guy.
Proven.
Isn't that Christopher Plummer's character in Knives Out?
I don't know.
I
Okay.
think so.
I think it's like
anyway,
Harlan
great
something.
author. You can find the story online if you want some context into this author after the cast. I highly recommend reading his stories. I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. It'll change your life because it did
Okay,
not.
cool.
We're sponsored by Bud Light today.
No, dude, no. Every day, like Bud Light is such like a basic thing, design and stuff. It might as well just be in an aluminum can that just says beer. Like, I mean,
It's what I have.
I know.
I think so. To start this out, I really think the wildest fact about this movie is that we're 1 year from this apocalypse.
Yeah, that was funny.
From this post,
We had to jump ahead of it. Adrian and I, so we watched it last night because I didn't have my internet set up then. And we did look at each other. It was like, oh shit, 2024 coming on the apocalypse.
Well, I guess the apocalypse, what happened years earlier after World War IV took only 5 days to happen. And World War III was like a 33-year war.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that it's implied. Well, it could be taken several ways, and it could just be them mistaking the Cold War for an actual war, or this is an alternate universe where the Cold War was not a Cold War, and lasted decades,
which would be a hellscape.
Which is interesting either way, and I like that. I like when sci-fi movies, they give you like a line of dialogue and it's something you can like argue with your friends about for a while. That's the shit, you know.
We love it. Yeah, this movie does its world building very well. And I will say the idea of a psychic dog, I just saw the poster on the Wikipedia and a tagline, but the idea of a psychic dog and some of these tropes, I do wonder how your average audience would be at this time. But we had been since the 50s doing this post-nuclear sci-fi. So I don't think this movie was hugely commercially successful. But I think, the people who went to see it would probably understand. And even the people who didn't, there's enough shooting and looting and fucking and fighting to keep the idiot 16-year-olds.
Yeah, but there's some content in it that might be too much for some people.
For sure.
Because I mean,
the main character's a rapist.
Yeah, but that's the thing is
this is the most unsympathetic main character in recent memory for me.
He's a cock.
I love the dog, but also the dog helps him
too
rape people.
Yeah.
But that's because
but that's like the weird thing. It's like can you still have sympathy for these people? Because he was born into this world where, like, that's just what you do if you want to get laid, I guess, if you got to fill your urges, because there's not a lot of women, I guess, around. And if they are, they hide out.
Raped to death.
I know, but it's just like.
That also brings up a point of like, it's naturally instinctive to men to want to rape.
No, it does not.
Yeah, because if they're having to fill, I know people go years without having sex and don't have it, and that's not saying like societal norms. I don't know anybody that I'm friends with has the headspace to want to rape someone. Dude.
I'm saying like they have these urges, but like that's just like the culture, because it's not just him, because he like comes across a woman that's already been killed by other people that has been used up, as he says.
He didn't have to cut him.
Yeah, exactly.
She could have been used 3 or 4 more times.
Yeah, it's fucking brutal. But it's also like a really dark comedy in that way, which is fucked. But that's part of the fun. Not the fun. That's the wrong word.
Cancel Kino 2020.
No, that's part of like the like craziness of it, that you're like, holy shit. But I can still like the character, even though that's the kind of way
he's an interesting character to watch. I wouldn't want to get a beer with him.
No,
I just want to say
he's also a 17-year-old, you know. It's like, and
he's 18,
born into the wasteland.
In one line, he just straight up says, "I'm horny and hungry." Also, at one point, he's like, "I haven't had sex in 6 weeks." I was like, when I was 17, I never had sex. How do you 6 weeks? Really? Is that a long time for you, bud?
I have to commend this guy, because at one point he would rather get laid, even if it means he has to fight off 20 fucking men to do it. I think
A, he's a dingus. B, the guy kind of doesn't care about his own life. And what I mean is he has a recklessness of, well, if this succeeds, great. If it doesn't, I don't really care if I die anyway. And we see the same thing when he steals a bag of food from those raiders who are digging a hole for whatever reason, looking for stuff. And I think he just goes for it. He's like, well, if I get the food, I get the food. If I get shot, then suddenly it's not my problem anymore. I really think that's got to be your mindset.
Yeah, and it's hard to imagine the mindset when you're born into a fucking thing like that, post-apocalypse. Like, how can
Well, he's also orphaned, so he didn't have anybody teaching him. His only like teacher is blood, which, real quick, I'm reading here, apparently blood was genetically engineered to be telepathic.
Oh, okay. Well, it doesn't say that explicitly in the film.
No, it doesn't.
The movie.
Because he can't forage for himself due to the same genetic engineering. That's why he has a partnership.
He does say for some reason he can't sense food because of that.
Yeah.
He does say that at one point in the movie. I just want to say, if you look at the photo of this movie, it has a half-naked women, and under the title it says an R-rated, rather kinky tale of survival.
Fucking
stupid 70s bullshit exploitation shit trying to get people
and it's
to watch
obviously not the writer, director, or any of the creative team's part. That's all marketing.
I do want to say though, I was like, when he's first introduced, he hears all the screaming of that woman, you know, being taken by these like raiders. My first instinct I thought he was going to go try to save her. Like, that was absolutely not the case. Like, because he goes in, he like heroically hits that guy.
He just wanted some sloppy sevens.
It's like, Jesus fucking Christ. As soon as that hit, I was like, the tone of this movie.
Should have given a fucking content warning before this podcast. Oh,
well. We'll have to put one like an actual.
I mean, we mentioned rape pretty early, and if you're not cool with that, it's, you know.
I will say
I'm not cool with rape.
That dog, that dog is pretty well trained for a fucking movie dog.
Oh, like, absolutely.
It was.
Like, and like, not only that, but the guy is really good at acting and talking to the dog. It's very believable.
And the dog's voice actor is really good.
How do you do, like, I can't imagine, like, people at home, I made a movie years ago called Moonman, and we had a dog in it named Victor Blunt. And it was my friend's dog, and it's the exact opposite of well-trained. And that was the most annoying pain in the ass shit I've ever had to do for any fucking film project, is to get that dog just to sit still and just to look a certain way. Like it took like 2 hours to get like enough for like a 2-minute scene. It was brutal.
Is that Dunaway's dog?
Huh?
Is that Dunaway's dog?
Yeah, Dunaway's dog. Yeah.
The dog's name is not Victor Bunt. That's the character's name.
Yeah, that's the character's name, which also is like has a voiceover, just like this movie. But fuck, that was a pain in the ass to deal with. So seeing this kind of dog be so casually good at acting is badass.
This dog should have won Best Actor.
Dude, if a dog won Best Actor at the Oscars, I would never shit on the Oscars.
Especially back in then, because like how many minorities hadn't won Best Actor at that point? Like a dog first? That'd be fucked. Can I just ask a question about this? One of the things that I don't think they contextualized or explained, why the fuck does Blood call him Albert?
I think maybe it doesn't explain it. Maybe that's his real name, but he's orphaned, so he's like, I'm Vic now.
Vic, what? That's like another mundane.
Well, I thought maybe like it's his way of calling him Albert Einstein.
Oh
like,
yeah, that makes more sense.
Like you're dumb as fuck, so I'm gonna call you a smart man's name.
That could be it.
Maybe.
I just never explained that. I was hoping to get some fucking context on that, but never.
Yeah. Another thing like about this movie is that another like important moment in the film is basically the message that even in the apocalypse, Kino must persevere, because they're watching just a shoddy collection of different film strips all melded together.
It's all porn.
But it's like you feel for them, obviously, and it's a cool
it's
way
all
to
porn and violence.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we see a man on fire because our culture has been reduced to such a base level.
Exactly. Yes. It's like right there in your face, like we've been reduced to this, and it's just like instant like pleasure for them. But it's a great way to flesh out the world a little bit, and you do feel for these people just kind of existing in this fucking world.
So there's a movie, The Postman, with Kevin Costner, which is post-apocalyptic. And there's a scene in that where you have all of these, they have a giant projector on the rock wall for all these raiders or something. And they're sort of like conscripts or something.
Yeah.
And to make them, violent and good fighters, their overlord starts showing one of the Universal Soldier movies. And they're all going, boo! And then they change it to not Gone with the Wind, The Sound of Music, and they all calm down because they just want to escape and see The Sound of Music instead.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Movie's not that great though.
So yeah, basically, his day to day is looking for women to force himself on and find food, basically.
Food and sex, the two basic.
Food and sex, yeah. And
which that alone, I always think, and some stories handle it better than others. There's only so many cans of food people can find. It depends on how many survivors there are in a given area. Now they mentioned that they're in Arizona. Okay, they're in what was the Phoenix area. I believe at one point they say born in Arizona or something. And yeah, he was born in 2006 in Phoenix, or what was Phoenix,
which is the year my brother was born. He's fucking old enough to drive now.
Gen Z movie. But so I think that adds to it's like, yes, it's irradiated, but stuff has grown back, which the dog is like, let's go to the green place or whatever they call it. And he's like, yeah, where food grows out of the ground, because he doesn't understand farming. Because that's all he knows, which goes back. It's a weird thing to contemplate, but that is something I always think about with post-apocalyptic movies. That are like, there's only so many good canned foods you can find.
Yeah,
it takes a lot of food to feed a village, even.
I think one of my favorite bits on the canned food was when he goes to see the Kino movie, and he hands off one, and the guy's like, "What about for the dog?" He throws him another one, and he's like, "I don't know what this is." He's like, "Can't you read? It's peaches." He looks down, and it's beets. He looks to this guy, he goes, looks down again, "It's peaches," and throws it.
Yeah, the great bit, yeah. But also, can
And
Vic
also a
actually
great bit of world building.
did Blood teach him actually to read, or is he just bullshitting?
I bet he can
I don't
read a
know.
little.
Yeah.
I bet he can, you know, I don't know if he could read a novel if you put it in front of him, but he can probably read Peaches.
Yeah. And Blood is he's this intellectual bastard, but like when it comes down to it, he wants, simple pleasures too, because all he wants in that movie is he just wants some fucking popcorn. He keeps badgering him about it. And he won't give up the details on the woman until he gets a little bit of popcorn talking to. Well, no, not the popcorn. He gets popcorn right after it, but like the fact that he's just so bothered by wanting it so bad is kind of a cool way to, I don't know, level out his character, because
It is, and it cracked me up because he tried to compare him to other dogs, and he's like, "I'm much better than average dogs," and then like wouldn't talk to him until he came over, and he was like,
Yeah.
"You're much, much better than these other dogs," and he goes, "He's over there." It's just,
Yeah.
it's
And
fun.
to be fair, he does defend Blood because the dude says the mutt, and he's like, he's not a mutt, and he's about to get pissed off. So,
which is cute.
I mean, it's like they care for each other a lot, but also Vic's very selfish, and I feel bad for Blood because Blood's putting a little bit more into their relationship than Vic is. And it's like, fuck you, asshole. This guy's the only reason you are where you are today is because Blood.
It reminds me of like half the kids that went into the military from high school.
Oh, yeah.
Got that personality, yeah.
Of what, just being selfish?
Of just being fucking a dick. I don't
Yeah,
know.
just being a fuck.
Looking out for themselves and doing stupid, erratic shit. I don't know.
Yeah, like trying to fight off 30 fucking men over pussy. Yeah.
Fucking Vic is definitely a Marine.
A wannabe Marine.
Yeah, he's a JROTC.
So yeah, he goes after that girl, and the audience doesn't realize yet, but it's already a trap because people from down under are plotting because they need fresh cum.
You do get an idea. I mean, if you're as patrician as we are, earlier you see figures, you just see them from like the knees down, talking about, is he the one? Yeah, set the cheese.
Yeah,
which I guess is setting
cheese
the
for the mouse trap.
And I thought during the movie, I was like, I bet the cheese is poon, because that seems to be all this guy's into.
Yeah, because pussy smells like cheese. We also got to deal with like him. He raids that to get to the woman. After Ferris makes contact, all those raiders come in. But then there's the screamers, which are like super mutants, I guess. Here's our Fallout tie-in.
I think they're just are they feral? They're not some sort of,
I don't know.
I think they're just a gang.
Are they? It says mutants on a wiki, which they have that green glow. I mean, they're specifically called screamers.
Oh yeah, like, it could be taken maybe different ways.
It says Raiders and Mutants on the thing. I feel like this wiki is taking some of the stuff from the book too.
I think it's taking liberties, and I think it's good to separate both the book from the movies.
No.
Yeah, because
but I didn't see those guys as mutants. They might have had. And what is mutants? What, tumors from radiation? I mean, they might have been.
I'm pulling up a thing because that's what I was losing. By the way,
I'm just saying. Either way, yeah, they're.
It doesn't really matter.
No, yeah, but it's like I said, I'm a sucker for world building, and so that's just more to it.
Yeah, I guess what they said from the book. The excerpt says that the motherfucker been green. Righteous stone green, glowing like a fungus. My gut heaved just thinking. And yeah, I guess it's got ooze coming from the eyelashes. So yeah, you know what that kind of reminds me of? The candy people before they became candy people in Adventure Time.
Yeah, fair.
Where they're like oozing fucking zombie beings.
But also, like, there's irradiated people, gross ass people in fucking Fallout that are kind of similar.
Ghouls and shit like that.
Yeah,
the ghouls.
Which you can definitely see the inspiration in Fallout pretty
Yeah,
good.
there's also irradiated gross people in real life from
Hiroshima.
radiation.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Whoa.
No, I mean, shit,
No.
it's a real world example. What do you think spawned this fucking fiction?
Yeah, no, Hiroshima, Chernobyl, Fukushima.
Why do you think we have Godzilla, dude? The ultimate.
Who would win a fight between Blood and Godzilla?
Blood.
Which mutant?
I like that. First of all, he's planning, of course, to force himself on this woman, and he kind of, the way he's been born into it, he doesn't really see humanity in women. He definitely sees them more as like a commodity, and I feel like this is completely shattered when suddenly she's being nice and she like looks at him very softly and stuff, and then you get this look on his face where he's like suddenly uncomfortable. And I'm thinking maybe now he's suddenly having some bad feelings about himself and maybe starting to think a little bit differently.
It's well played. He's like, oh, they're people, which is stupid.
Which is fucked, but also like, you know.
Just because and it's a good psychological tactic. Be like, what's your name? Where are you from? Who are your parents? You know, to
Let's
immediately humanize herself. Which is, I've heard of people with muggers, or I heard one story of people with muggers being like, I don't necessarily recommend this, being like, can you at least leave me my ID and stuff? And the guys are kind of like, now I feel bad. Like, we'll throw their driver's license at them or something.
One of the Softy brothers got mugged, and in the mugging, he was like, "Hey, I'm making a movie. I think you guys would be good thugs. Do you want to be in it?" And they stopped mugging him, and he cast them in fucking Uncut Gems.
Whoa.
That's a good way to not get mugged.
Yeah,
Try that next time. Be like, hey,
I remember reading that recently. I was like, "Are you fucking
I'm making a YouTube movie."
But yeah, no, he falls for the cheese. He grabs the cheese. She smacks him in the head with a flashlight?
Oh, we're skipping some stuff.
After they fucking fought off.
That's what I'm saying.
What do you guys think of that fight scene?
We don't have to go linear, you know.
No, we don't have to.
What scene?
The fight scene.
Where they just shoot at each other?
Yeah, where they're shooting each other.
It's fun.
All the people.
I mean, you know, it's pretty
like
fun.
That set.
Yeah, it's like a abandoned like hospital.
Weird thing.
Where
is it a hospital or was it like a shelter?
It was a hospital kind of area.
I think it was used as a shelter at one point.
Yeah, but like, you know, it's got like the infirmary kind of signage and stuff like that. So obviously there was there used to be an ass ton of like pallets and beds and places where I assume a mass amount of people were sleeping at one point when they probably still had hope, and you know, it rotted away, which is cool.
Yeah, because World War IV lasted 5 days.
Yeah,
so maybe they had that emergency stuff ready to go because you already had World War III. So you're like, let's prepare for our society to, you know, crumble.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have actual war in our real world in the 50s, and we were still having kids practice to duck and cover under desks in case of a nuclear attack. Imagine what their protocol would be in a scenario where there was war in the 50s on up. I don't know.
Yeah, war was declared.
War were declared. I do like that they do start to hint at this place called Down Under, and you're wondering like, what is this? And you know, I went into this movie fucking cold, so it was fucking crazy. Yeah, and we do get the scene where he and her talk back and forth while deciding to or against going into Down Under. I feel like it does drag for a second, but it picks up right after that. I feel like this is one of those few movies that it would be fun. I wouldn't want to remake it, but it would be fun to imagine how I would remake the movie, because especially I would expand on the Down Under sequences a lot and flesh that out, not in a way that like ruins the crypticness of their culture and how that came to be, but just like, I don't know, some extended sequences. But so
Cool.
yeah,
They're very limited by their budget.
yeah, for sure.
400 grand, which I'll do the math on that real quick.
Yeah. So
Doesn't Blood like break his arm, like one of his
yeah, he
legs?
fights off that fucking dog and like gets mauled pretty badly.
And so after they discuss whether or not she's going to stay on the surface and leave, for one, Blood's like, ain't no fucking way I'm going down there. He's like, if you go down there, goodbye. Like, this sucks having to say goodbye, but I don't believe he'll come back.
Yeah.
So he has to leave him up there, which kind of sucks.
Really pisses me off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's fucking selfish. He's a fucking
yeah. Especially when your dog's in that state, dude. Fuck him, dude. Like,
he's not convinced he's going to come back though.
Also, how do you train a dog to limp around like that?
I was thinking that too.
You break their leg.
Jesus, dude. That's fucked. But that's so impressive to me that he was like limping around and shit. I was like, damn, this dog is smart.
Smart dog.
Smart cookie.
Was that sheepdog? Sheepdogs are smart, right?
I don't know.
I mean, they're sheepdogs.
I'm bad with dog breeds. I only know shit because of Parker's hyperfixation on dogs. If that's what you want to call it. That's what TikTok teens would call it.
Hyperfixate. Okay. Yeah.
But no, he goes down under and it's a long ways down. You're like, what the fuck is he going?
It's like the opposite of Logan's Run.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you're going down into this dystopia instead of trying to escape. And I'm a big fan of escaping movies that escape dystopia or escape an illusion or a simulation and stuff. And this is the exact opposite.
Well, it's like as he's going down, it becomes more and more technologically advanced. And then he opens up where he goes to, and it's fucking Topeka, Kansas, which I fucking love. At least that's what they call it. It's the middle.
That's what they call it, but I feel like that's not where they are.
Oh no,
no!
I think Topeka, Middle America, Topeka in the 50s is what they were trying to go for.
Fucking thing too, because it's like it's all very.
It's like Bioshock.
Yeah, it's like contrived, like fucking fake, you know, like it's got greenery and stuff, but there's no sky because they're underground.
Yeah, it's all dark and
it's like it's like this weird blend of turn of the century mixed with like peak 1950s Americana, Boy Scout, all-American football kind of thing.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's very Bioshocky. Bioshock had to.
Yeah, it's like clearly portraying conservatism like to the absolute extreme, and like they're all wearing creepy full face makeup, and
I want to know more about
they're
that.
Like they've become like living caricatures of mid-century America, and it's so fascinating and I love it. And when that happened, when it gets to that scene in the movie, you should have seen my face. I was like, oh yeah, this fucks.
No, absolutely, dude. And then like, what's the first thing they do? They fucking bathe him, and he's got that creepy smiling farmer, I guess, and revealed to be an android later, but just like scrubbing him and holding him down. And one of my favorite scenes right after that, he fucking weird character. But my favorite thing after that is Michael is parading him back to go to wherever the doctor is trying to take him, I guess, to go see the counselors, and he just like keeps throwing himself at all the women that he's passing, and like
he's a fucking animal, man.
Yeah, dude, it's so fucked. And then I guess he has a moment with the only dog that's down there.
Yeah,
and like I guess the council's confused that not all dogs have these telepathic connections because he sentences it to the farm, which is a cryptic word to fucking be murked.
Yeah, I guess it's like bought the farm. Yeah. One of my things is, so could that dog talk and just or are some of the dogs from down under psychic, and maybe that's why Blood has his knowledge and his powers is because he originally comes from there.
I could see that.
Yeah, maybe so.
because he also has like an knowledge. He's like, if you go down there, he knows what. I feel like he knows what's down there.
It's
No,
like
he knows what's down there.
only certain people, I guess, can have the connection because they're trying to see if he can talk to it, and no one else can, or something. That's an interesting point. Also, it's weird. Like, once you realize Michael's a fucking android, he's a robot, you realize that it's like way more advanced of a society than you think. Which, juxtaposed, it's an interesting because they're as like conservative as possible with their culture and their everything, and meanwhile they're so advanced technologically. It's fascinating.
They're criminally.
It's cultural stagnation,
Yeah,
or population control, and also cultural change and social revolution is how we got the hippies in the 60s and the wars. I did notice at one point, this is a small thing, they were eating bananas, and I was thinking, how do they grow bananas in that climate? And then later you hear, because they constantly have announcements on loudspeakers just feeding propaganda,
which is fucking crazy.
which must be annoying. And because we don't even really we see them in park areas, we don't even see their domiciles. We don't see
No, we don't see their homes at all.
Exterior of like one building, and that's
we see their church and like their hospital.
Yeah, that's it.
Like a yard where they have marching bands running through, and
just for no reason, just
fucking weird, dude.
Just to perpetuate the culture for its own sake.
Exactly.
But they mentioned hydroponics in one of the loudspeakers. I realized.
Oh, okay.
They must be getting their food that way, and apparently they do go to the surface sometimes. It's not, at least the council, or at least higher ranking people do, and to get knowledge or maybe resources.
Yeah,
they even, we're skipping ahead a bit, they even mentioned like, well, get another Michael robot from the warehouse. They mentioned that later. So they just have warehouses of stuff,
and it's like, it kind of it's one of those things where you're like, wow, this is aged too well, because a lot of folks these days, more than usual, are keeping their heads in the sand as the world around them is trying to evolve and advance, and they can't face the music, and the music being shit is not cool on the surface, it is completely devastating, and they're just devolving in a way, and I don't know, it's really cool. When was this novella written?
Like 69, like 6 years earlier.
So I'm guessing the guy who wrote it grew up in the fucking 50s and probably
commenting
on that kind of late 40s, early 50s. That kind of lifestyle.
He was definitely around then, and that informs his story. I mentioned, I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, is also post-apocalyptic. He was born 34, so he was in his 20s in the 50s, teens, 20s.
Yeah, which, when you're coming of age and you're starting to learn about the world around you, that's when you start kind of noticing how weird shit is. And I could see him being opposed to a lot of the weird suburban shit of the 50s and the sanitized state of America, and wanting to comment on that. Even pre-50s too, because like the Hays Code, started in the 30s. Mm-hmm. So I don't know.
One of the darker bits, or not bits, but like just scenes in this movie, is whenever, I guess it is a bit, where they explain to him that he has a stud value, and that's why he's been taken, and he is ecstatic to be able to fuck all the women and in the community. And then they're like, no, we do artificial insemination.
Yeah, but like he's like, I'll start with this broad right here.
He starts taking off his shit like, I got you first.
It's like a fucking old ass woman. But it's like, you would think she would be offended, but then she just laughs her ass off, which really puts you off. And then it cuts to him fucking tied up with his mouth covered, having cum sucked from his dick. It's
which some people
horrible.
Still like that.
But while a priest is marrying the women to him.
It's fucking awesome.
It's
also poetic justice for all the atrocities of rape he's done in the fucking
it is. I like that you still got to be married, but polygamy is okay.
Yeah. It's fucking
it's
awesome.
Some people have kinks. They would love being strapped to that thing and milked, but a bit much for me.
I do want to comment.
How much cum does he have?
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like,
Are they
imagine
getting all that at
That's
once?
gotta hurt. That's gotta
that
no
would
way.
fucking suck. No, because like after a few, you're gonna be shooting fucking ghost loads. There's no way. Like how many does it take for you to shoot ghost loads?
About 20.
Oh,
My ass, dude.
I do want to point out, like, the relationship that the main counselor dude has with fucking Quilla, whatever her name is fucking weird.
It's like Donald Trump and his daughter.
Well, that's not his daughter though. Like, that's not, like, they have different last names. They're not related. She calls him Mr. Craddock.
Okay, yeah,
it's
it is
like,
really weird.
Come on, baby, come sit and give daddy a kiss.
He's the overseer.
Fucking weird.
He's like Biden.
weird.
He's like getting all up.
Well, she's like, "Can I be on the council now?" And they deny it, and that's when she's like, "Fuck everyone else." Then, like,
Anakin Skywalker moment.
oh yeah,
that is straight. Yeah, why did she want to be on the council so bad that she was willing to go up to the surface and lure him in?
some people just like power.
Yeah,
they're the president and their cabinet.
Yeah, I just wish we could have gotten a better sense of scale with how many people and what kind of like infrastructure they have and layout and stuff, just to make it more.
Sure. You can only imagine. I feel like it's only a few hundred at most.
Yeah, for sure. It's
like I think it's under 1,000 easily.
I think it's.
I would love to see the scope of it. I need to
500.
read this novella. I'm definitely going to read it after this. Yeah, like she basically said, like, forsakes the whole rest of them because she can't be made on the council. And what is she? She goes and saves fucking Vic, and is trying to get him to help. And Vic's like, "No, fuck this. I'm getting out of here. Like, I don't give a fuck about this
Yeah,
shit."
so yeah, even at this point, he doesn't want to be a hero. He just wants to fucking leave. He's just
I gotta get back to blood.
He's just a prick, like weirdly unsympathetic character, but you still like watching him.
Dude, and like watching the council sit there on the hill while everybody's watching, and them going down the list and naming the usurpers and being like, "To the farm," and then Michael comes out of fucking nowhere and just crushes them.
Yeah,
it's so fucking dope.
Yeah, I know. I love it.
With a smile on his face the whole time. And like he's chasing them down, and you finally realize after he gets a few shots off that he's an android. And the fucking Craddock comments, he's like, "All right, we're gonna need a new Michael. Make sure you grab one that doesn't have a smile this time."
Yeah. I mean, imagine you're in that scenario, you're shooting at somebody, he just keeps walking towards you like a Scooby-Doo villain.
Yeah, dude, that's so fucking gnarly.
They said something. So there was one couple who, older couple, just for being disobedient, generally, churlish and insubordinate. They
and churlish.
They sent them to the farm, and I think they said something like, I think they frame it to be like accidents or something.
Like heart attack. They said it was a heart attack. They died of a heart attack. They were like, "Should we do cancer again?" He's like, No, let's do a heart attack this time.
Yeah.
Which is like, don't you want to try and keep the small amount of folks that you have?
No, it's population control, and it's control, and that's why they bring him in to get genetic diversity.
Yeah. Which
they're just
is kind of a weird choice because he's a moron. But, you know, whatever.
He's got good cum, apparently.
They said he's average intelligence.
Yeah. But
and aggressive, but
in a physical one.
He's got good cum. Yeah, how did they make that decision? Is another. I did think, why Vic? Is it because he is clever? He has an ingenuity about him in a way. In he's street smart. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
And I think he's probably smarter than a lot of people. But I guess it's enough fitness and enough smarts in that area. And also they probably do some psychological profiling of like, who could we lure down here and capture, and they wouldn't wreck shit, which clearly they picked the wrong person, or they didn't count on what's her name trying to start a revolution.
No.
I think she really thought she could convince him to live in this paradise, quote unquote. And then she was surprised that he was so adamantly against it.
Especially when she mentioned blood could only come and visit.
Yeah.
He was like,
stupid.
Fuck that shit.
Stupid thing to say.
stupid thing. The no, and I think but also it's a way the same way we said we can't imagine what it's like to be raised like Vic is. We can't imagine what it's like to be her. This is obviously, I feel like she had to have been to the surface a few times at least, and maybe they chose her because she has been to the surface on missions or whatever.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she is very naive. She's like, well, this is what you do. You get married and you have kids, and Vic can only come to visit, of course, or whatever. And to her, this is paradise because she doesn't really know anything else. It's like people who think their shitty small town is the best town in America because it has a Dollar General or whatever.
All right, we've got $3 Generals where I'm at, sir. I do want to say the climate, the ending of this film, the last like 10 minutes or so is one of my favorite fucking endings of a film, period, after he escapes up there. And Keela's like, where they find blood, and blood's been there the whole time. We don't know how many days have really passed.
Fucking pisses me off, dude.
But he's there waiting for him because that's kind of what dogs do. Though there's tales of dogs like Hachi, the dog, would wait at his owner's grave every day for years. It's a sad story. And Keela's
the dog from Futurama.
Yeah. Well, it's like she's like trying to get him to abandon blood and get the fuck out of Dodge, you know. And for a second there, you're like, oh fuck, he's gonna choose Keela. The very next scene is a smoldering fire with a spit over it, and he murdered Keela, and they fed it to the fucking dog, dude.
Hell yeah. Badass fucking baller ending.
And the best line of the whole movie is said by Blood, and it was what he said: she had marvelous judgment, but not particularly good taste. As they walked over the hill.
That line got criticized for being misogynistic, including by Harlan Ellison, which I think is ironic because he was a huge asshole, and while winning one of his multiple Hugo Awards, he like grabbed the tit of the presenter just to be an asshole.
Yeah, so fuck him.
So fuck him. It's the end of his. I think it's the same ending, but they're like, he's like, "Do you know what love is?" Sure, a boy loves his dog or something. So
that's a good line too. Shit,
it's a good line too. But I kind of like the cheesy, cinematic, campy quip ending.
I do too. It shows that Blood also has like a little bit of a sense of humor, man.
Yeah,
like he's not just a fucking know-it-all shithead.
No, I'm glad. I'd much rather have Blood live in that chick.
Oh, dude, absolutely.
I do. Going back throughout the movie, one of my favorite little things they do, as sort of like to show you what Blood's job is, every time he's sniffing, you hear the beep 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 like a radar almost.
Yeah,
I love that. That's so cool.
It's definitely like a tool to get certain people who aren't as privy to sci-fi to be like, oh, he's like a radar detector. Okay, I get it. Just to kind of help people along, but it adds to it in a way that I do like a lot.
And he's got that line. He's like, "Do I bother you when you're working?" And he's like laying on the ground. I don't know, dude. I really, really like this movie. It's fucked. It's a fucked up movie, but it's got a lot of charm.
Also, it's so influential. Harlan Ellison is so influential, and as the titan of the subgenre.
Yeah, I'm gonna read some of his novellas. I've never read anything.
Dude, if Blood would have died because of his choices to go down there, unforgivable. Fucking A. And also, we were talking about it earlier. They mentioned like the Green Place or something like that. Very much similar to Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But in Mad Max Fury Road, the fucking revelation is that they already passed it, and it was this desolate, horrible place. And
yeah,
I'm wondering if there's
no
like an actual
green.
place in this.
That is something. Is like, is it still existent? I believe. Blood that it is a thing, or it was a thing.
Oh yeah, police dog told him, "You gotta trust cops."
Is that what he said?
Yeah. He mentions, he's like, "How do I know you? I don't know if that's true or not." And he goes, "How am I supposed to trust what a police dog told you?" And then he gets pissed off. Which, like, the dog moves his head this way to, like, I don't know.
Yeah, dude, that's fucking crazy.
Fucking dope. It's so dope,
dude.
Good boy.
What didn't you want to talk at all about Fallout or something, or no?
I don't. It's through the whole thing. You have underground vaults. You have the weird juxtaposition of 50s values with the post-apocalypse.
Yeah.
You have the overseer through the council.
Yeah.
The dog gets called "I'll make you dog meat" at one point, and dog
Yeah.
meat's a character in Fallout, recurring character.
The best character.
It's all over. It's just all over this movie. It almost makes me respect Fallout a little less. Although the idea of having a giant Fallout shelter and stuff, yeah. And in Fallout, it's a bit different because they're doing social experiments on all the people the whole time.
I was waiting for a lone record player to play some 50s jingle throughout this whole movie, though. I just going to set the world on fire. Or some shit like that.
You just
there was that
dramatized.
weird moment where they played like the yakety sax, not yakety sax, but that kind of music when he went and grabbed that bag from the Raiders.
Which I love that Raider, that slaver was just like, no, let him have it, let him keep it. Like he risked it, let him have it. But also fucked up that the two kids he had on board were dressed in dresses.
Why?
Because I think they were little boys, and I don't know. I had a weird vibe.
We stand for trans rights on this podcast.
Well,
No, it's different from that, Scott. I think
it is different from that.
I think he was effing the little boys. And it's
effing the bees. You know how it is. No, you don't.
I love that the fucking guitarist got away. The one person who took his chance while they're all bothered and shooting at fucking Vic is the guy who he had play guitar. It's just like hopping away while no one's looking.
Yeah, kind of similar to the musician in Mad Max Fury Road, huh?
Yeah.
And that character is also kind of similar to some of the scoundrels in the kind of like Toe Cutter and other characters in Mad Max.
And you know, it does follow naturally, like, okay, so you would have these groups of scavengers. Well, there would be hierarchies. What would a tribal hierarchy be like? Okay, there would be a chief. Well, what would a chief be wearing? Well, he would have like a headdress and robes and stuff. Okay, what would he make that out of? Whatever he could find. So it would be like a bunch of scrap. You know, so it does follow logically somewhat. So you can't.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I agree. It's just some of the choices in Mad Max are way funnier. Like what's his name, Lord Humongous or whatever.
Yeah. Oh fuck.
Lord Humongous.
First time I watched that, and fucking, I was in tears laughing at that.
It's so awesome.
So fucked. And then you've got like even modern day apocalyptic, post-apocalyptic, but this is the end. You've got a chieftain and it's Danny McBride. And he fucks Channing Tatum because he's the chieftain.
Channing Tatum. Yeah. Yeah, that's so I guess I wanted to talk about your favorite tropes of post-apocalyptic fiction. And if there's anything in this that stuck out to you that you really like, or anything you're tired of, because this desolate desert setting has been done to death, but it can still be fresh. And I'm hoping that Borderlands movie isn't complete fucking garbage.
Yeah, I like desert punk shit a lot. It's definitely one of my like favorite little genres of the punk shit, and probably one of my favorite like tropes is having like a fucking gladiator death pit like Thunderdome.
Yeah.
Fucking get off to that shit. I love it so much. I don't really have anything I dislike too much. Could be less rape.
More cannibalism, though.
Honestly, yes.
We finally got some at the end, which was, it paid off.
I like cannibalistic shit in movies, dude.
Yeah, man.
Gnarly. Hell yeah. Good point. Yeah, more
Maybe some cats. Would have been cool if blood.
Yeah, we don't see very many cats in these movies. Just
you can't train a cat.
Yeah, what's a cat gonna do for you? Hunt a little tiny baby rabbit?
You think someone would have a little capuchin monkey walking around being weird?
Yeah, there's not enough monkeys in this movie.
Not any turkeys or game fowl. I don't know.
I do like the rich have built their own sort of thing. I mean, that's real. There are bunkers where the rich have reserved their place.
They have. Yeah.
That's a real thing, which at that point, I always say if there's a nuke coming, I'm probably just gonna drive to the Air Force Base and just let it take me out immediately, just because I don't want to deal with that.
Nah, I want to persevere, see if I can live in a badass
Yeah.
fucking post-apocalypse.
You want to try? I mean, I would be curious. At the same time, I can see the news coming on of like the air raid sirens. I'd just be like, Mondays. Wah, wah.
I'm gonna
So
find the
that
very
just
first-
happened.
I'm gonna find the very first alpha and throw my ass at him, and then become living clean.
You'll be
Yeah,
the first
living-
concubine.
You'll live in luxury, dude. It'll be badass.
That'd be cool.
No, I'm gonna hole up in a pharmacy and eat all the drugs until I overdose. That's the real thing.
No, you'll be one of the the fucking chicks in Mad Max who like are all getting their tits milked the whole day.
That sounds like a good life, dude.
Yeah, I remember showing Parker that, and she was like, "What the fuck, dude?"
Dude, fucking that breeders and stuff like that are such a fucked
She had never
concept.
seen any other Mad Max or anything close to that, and I just threw on Fury Road and went in hot. I don't know if she liked it or not, but whatever, dude.
Oh man.
Oh.
Yeah, it's fucked. Great film though. I really enjoyed
Excellent.
This one. Yeah.
I enjoyed the
Yeah.
hell out of it.
Good. I'm glad. I'm trying to think of any other similar
Oh,
movies.
I do want to go over a little bit what the critics said, because there's a few. This filtered in quite a few like well-known critics.
Oh yeah,
Roger Ebert only gave it 2.5 stars.
I mean,
uh,
that's his
still
opinion.
decent from him.
2 out of 4, yeah, kinda. He said it seemed to almost defy filming, but nonetheless, Jones managed to offer a sort of wacky success. My favorite review is it's rather than illuminate the present through a glance at a possible future, A Boy and His Dog is simply a dim-witted collection of tired sex gags and anti-American imagery. And that was Gene Siskel.
Pussy. Oh,
Fucking
Gene
pussy.
Siskel. Fucking American simp, dude. I bet he loves that shit, dude.
And then the Washington Post, Gary Arnold was like, called it a shoddy, puerile science fiction parable that mistakes juvenile facetiousness for wit and glorifies a juvenile concept of freedom, which means making it in the wild away from such unmanly encumbrances as civilization and women. Like,
I don't know if you could argue that the story makes its own argument that that's a good thing, but I don't think that's what it's arguing for.
no.
I think the real civilization was destroyed by itself, and man was sent to this primal Rousseauian state. And the man chose to do that. So you could argue there's sort of a rugged individualism. But then again, is that Harlan Ellison, though, does have that sort of rugged individualism, like many science fiction authors of his era, in his thing. But is it anti-family? Is it anti-America, or just anti a fictionalized portrait of America?
Yeah, God
it's
forbid.
That's what it is. It's pointing out how fictionalized that portrait of mid-century America is, which was largely perpetuated by Hollywood. Those images. There were still certainly people of color, and gay and trans people and everything in between, struggling under that system. They were just shoved down and had no voice. We all know this. I'm preaching to the choir, and if you're watching this, it's probably not news to you, but it's criticizing America that never existed, and the ideal that America sometimes strives to be, while ignoring the brutalities that underpin it, and any government or civilization.
Yeah, for sure.
Siskel has shit taste, and he got filtered by so much. And like, God forbid we comment on some of the weird shit of America's culture. Like, come on.
We were still in the Cold War.
I know, that just reminds me
We
even
Come
more.
out of Vietnam.
It's only gotten worse today, where you can't point out anything without people being like, I love this country, don't you say a goddamn
It's
word.
polarized. I criticize this country because I love it.
I don't love this country,
Fucking
but I
suck.
do criticize it because I believe in the idea that it could improve and that we
Yeah.
could
For sure.
turn the tide.
Yeah. Did you guys know that there was a legitimate sequel planned, LQ Quinn or whatever, and that the reason why the sequel never really came to fruition is because Tiger, the dog that portrayed Blood, passed away.
Oh
Damn.
man.
We never
Rip
made it.
Tiger.
Yeah, it's gonna be called A Girl and Her Dog.
Oh, what was? I mean, what would they even do? I don't know.
I don't know,
Yeah, I don't think it needed to see.
Apparently, you can read the teleplay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Well,
I'm pretty interested in that now.
They could have just recast the dog. I guess that dog was such a good fucking actor that they're like, no, we're not doing it without
It'd
him.
be like
for
recasting
real.
DiCaprio. What are you gonna? How are you gonna do it?
That dog's awesome. Tiger
Maybe they
was,
can deep fake that dog in.
Tiger was the name of
They
the
can
dog.
just
in the
CG it like
Brady
that Call of
Bunch.
the Wild movie that nobody watched.
Dude, why? People would have
Oh,
actually gone to see
shit.
that movie if it wasn't CGI dog.
So, hey, I just figured out. I also read here. Harlan Ellison says when Blood calls Vic Al or Albert, he's referring to the Albert Payson Terhune, who was a dog breeder and American author who wrote dog stories.
Okay.
That's the
I don't
most
know.
fucking.
It's weird.
Why even?
I guess he does it because it's a traditional boy and his dog relationship turned upside down.
Well, Harlan Ellison, you have to understand, does come from. He is the quantity over quality writer. His quality, when it was quality, was really good for what he did. But he has over 1,700 published works between short stories, novellas, screenplays, comic book scripts, teleplays, essays, and a wide range of criticism per Wikipedia. So it's just I don't know, it's insane. But
yeah.
he wrote a wide range of things and probably had a lot of influences. He was just that type of writer.
Well, even if it's quantity over quality, it's impressive that he had that many different things to write
It's
about.
nuts.
What the fuck?
Asimov's bibliography is insane. He has like over 500 full-length books in every section of the Dewey Decimal System.
Oh shit! The dog blood, the blood in this movie is also the dog in the Brady Bunch.
That's what I just said.
Oh,
That's crazy because I just said y'all didn't hear me, but the dog's name in the show is Tiger.
yeah.
So they just called him by his real name.
Okay,
That's
man.
crazy. That's all connected
cool.
now.
That's cool. Oh man,
Wow.
what are we doing next week?
Next
The
week
Brady
on
Bunch
the
was a
harbor,
very
huh?
no, I was gonna say the Brady Bunch wasn't very idealized, although I guess it involves divorce and probably incest.
Yeah. I need to watch the Brady Bunch movie. I heard
The one
it's
from the
really good.
'90s. It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
That's a classic.
Fucking Cody shows that movie. So does
yeah.
Alina Kaiser.
So it's Wings of Desire next.
Yeah, next week on the harbor, tune in for Wings of Desire. If you go, it's the same director as our episode on Paris, Texas. So if you want to go check that out, go check it out. That one's been real popular this month. Been real happy about that. Yeah, so we'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Stay Kino.